All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. We are going to talk about listing presentations today. As a matter of fact, for at least the next several weeks, that's what we're going to talk about every Tuesday and Thursday. Now, here's why. In speaking with real estate agents and meeting with you guys daily, one of the things that I'm hearing over and over again is times are tough. There are fewer properties on the market. It is harder to get listings in today's market than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. And here's the solution. The solution to everything starts with mastering your seller listing presentation. Now, why that's the solution is because it's going to give you the confidence to get on the phone and lead generate for seller listing appointments. If you're not sure inside confidence at your gut level that when you show up at the home, you're going to absolutely knock it out of the park, then everything within you is working against you because your mindset is, if I get an appointment, what am I going to do? Now, what's the solution? The solution is master your listing presentation. What it's going to do for you, it's going to make you excited about getting on the phone and making these calls. So what I'm going to share with you is the same system. Let's call it a franchise system. Just like if you bought McDonald's or you bought a Starbucks or a Chick-fil-A, they would hand you an operations manual and they would say, this is what you do in order to open and run a Chick-fil-A successfully. Now, you're not going to change the operations manual because it's the way that you signed up to do it. So you are going to do it, which means if I go to a Chick-fil-A in Florida or Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Massachusetts, it's the same experience that I had at the last Chick-fil-A that I went to. Now, what if we could do that with your seller listing presentation? The answer is we can. And I'm going to start with begin the conversation today. Now, I'm going to role play. I'm going to share with you what this sounds like, and then I'm going to stop every so often and talk about it because it's really important you understand the psychology behind this. All right, let's get started. If you would, please write down the following words for me. Gratitude. Underneath the word gratitude, set expectations. Underneath set expectations, I want you to write needs analysis. And then underneath that, I want you to write prioritize their needs. And then next, I want you to write trial close. Now, these are your bullet point reminders for the blueprint you're going to follow for listing success. All right, I'm sitting at Charlene's table. Charlene, thank you for the opportunity to meet with you today. It is always a privilege to meet with someone to discuss the possibility of the Dietz team representing them in the sale of their home. It's gratitude. Sounds simple. Most people don't do it. Most businesses don't do it. The psychology behind this is you want to be different. You want to be different than everybody else from the word go. And start with gratitude. Now, I'd like to share my mission statement with you, Charlene. My mission is to meet your goals and exceed your expectations. Now, the question I'm going to ask all of you is, why are you in business? Not what do you do? We all know what you do. You sell real estate. We know how you do it. You lead generate for seller listing appointments. You go on seller listing appointments. You take seller listing appointments. You market those in order to sell them, and you transact business in order to get to the closing table. That's how you do it. So the what is you sell real estate. The how is everything that I just explained. And the why never gets talked about. Now, I'm going to challenge you to start with why. Why are you in business? Why should somebody work with you versus the thousands of other real estate agents that do the same thing you do? Your why needs to be something that is going to be inspirational, motivational. It's going to cause you to stand out and be different. So my mission is to meet your goals and exceed your expectation. Now, what's the message? The message is, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, My goal is not to sell your home. My goal is not to take your listing. My goal is not to get a commission check. My goal, simply stated, is to meet your goals and exceed your expectations. Now, what do we need to do in order to meet goals and exceed expectations? Well, we need to ask people, what are you hoping to accomplish? What does a successful sale of your home look like? Why is that important to you? What would that do for you? So my mission is to meet your goals and exceed your expectations. And because of that mission, whenever I meet with a potential seller, one of three things typically happen. This is the expectations part of the outline. One of three things typically happen. One of those will happen today. Now listen to the words. It's important. It's not one of those may happen today. It's one of those will happen today. Whenever I meet with a potential seller, one of three things typically happen. Either they hire me, and that's awesome. Now, it's always about your clients. It's never about the client sitting across the table from you. Here's that version of the conversation. Whenever I meet with a potential seller, one of three things typically happen. One of those things will happen today. Either you'll hire me, and that's great, or you won't hire me, and that's not so great. You're not going to talk about the person sitting across the table. You're going to talk about your experience with everyone else that you've worked with. So one of three things typically happen. One of those things will happen today. Either they hire me, which is awesome, or they don't hire me, which is not so awesome. And the third thing that happens occasionally is I may choose to turn the opportunity down. Now, immediately you're different than everybody else. Because how many real estate agents do you know that would turn down a seller listing? Not very many. Remember how the conversation started. In talking with real estate agents today, one of the most common things I hear is there's no inventory. It's very hard to find seller listings in today's market because fewer people are selling their home and there's more competition, meaning there's lots and lots of real estate agents. So why in the world would I turn down a seller listing? Well, that's super important. This is the psychology behind the conversation. Now, when I share that last thing that typically happens, not typically, always happens, I'm going to pause. And the reason for the pause is I want to give my seller the opportunity to ask, why would you do that? Now, how long am I going to give them? 3, 4, 5 seconds? It's going to feel like an eternity, but it's not. I promise you. So, Deborah, the third thing that occasionally happens is I may choose to turn down the opportunity. And you may be asking yourself, why would I do that? And I think you're going to really like the answer. You see, if I feel that a seller has a goal or an expectation that I cannot meet or exceed, I would rather turn the opportunity down today than let you down 6 months from now. First time I mentioned Deborah, let you down 6 months from now. I would rather turn the opportunity down today than let you down 6 months from now. Now, what are they hearing? They're hearing that it's okay if they don't hire you because you told them. One of three things typically happen when I meet with a potential seller. One of those things will happen today. Either they understand and appreciate the benefits that I offer and they hire me, which is awesome, or they don't hire me, and quite honestly, that's not so awesome. And then occasionally I may choose to turn the opportunity down. And you may be wondering, why would I do that? Well, I think you're going to really like the answer. You see, if I feel a seller has a goal or an expectation that I cannot meet or exceed, I would rather turn the opportunity down today than let you down 6 months from now. Now, I'm telling them that I'm not attached. I'm not attached to the listing. I don't need to take their listing. Now, I'll even tell people that, okay? And the way I'll tell them that is like this. You see, Chandra, I don't need to take your listing. Now, I really want to work for you, and that's why I'm here. But if I needed to take your listing, I would tell you anything you wanted to hear just to get a sign in your yard. And I know you're meeting with other agents because you told me, and you're going to meet with an agent who needs to list your home. And you're going to know that because they'll tell you anything you want to hear just to get a sign in your yard. And what happens in that situation is it ends up being a win-lose. You see, the real estate agent won because they got a sign in your yard, and that sign is generating buyer calls, and they're converting those buyer calls to buyers. They're taking those buyers out. They're showing homes, not yours, and they're selling those other homes. They're using you to market for buyer leads. That's a win-lose. And I'm sure that doesn't feel good to you. Now, with me, you know I'm not going to do that, because if I can't meet your goals and exceed your expectations, I'm going to turn the opportunity down versus letting you down. Now, in order for me to know if I can meet your goals and exceed your expectations, I need to ask you a couple of questions. Would that be okay? Now, I want to pause for a moment, because in this video, you're in the conversation you and I are having right now in Survive to Thrive, you're hearing all me and you're not hearing the seller. In real life, it's conversational. It has to be. All right. My job is to work as a consultant, not as a salesperson. Consultants ask questions. Salespeople sell and tell. So I don't want to sell and tell. What does sell and tell look like? Real estate agent shows up at the kitchen table and they start the conversation with, let's talk about our marketing plan. Let me show you what we do to market our listings that makes us different from everybody else. Let me share with you why you should hire blank real estate company, because we have the best marketing plan in the industry. They're selling and they're telling. They haven't even stopped to ask one question about what's important to that seller. All right, in order for me to know if I can meet your goals and exceed your expectations, I need to ask you a couple of questions. Would that be okay? So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not so great and 10 being awesome, what needs to happen in the sale of your home for this experience to be a success? Now, you absolutely have to be quiet here, because they have to answer the question. And most of the time, you're going to hear, get my price, sell it quickly. Those are the two top. Every so often, something else will be there, but be prepared for that. So when you hear, get my price, I want you to ask them, Randy, what does that look like to you? Wait for them, Raul, to respond. Nathan, what I want you to hear is, I want you to hear 700,000, 600, 650, whatever the number is. Whatever their answer is when they say 700,000, I want you to ask them, what would that do for you? Why is $700,000 important? And pay attention. As you're doing this, you're taking notes. You're writing everything down they're telling you. You're demonstrating that you care about them, they can trust you, and you know what you're doing. So what would selling your home for $700,000 do for you? Well, I need to sell it for that price because that's what I need in order to buy my next home. Got it. Understood. Now, if we could accomplish a second goal, such that this would be a 10+ experience, what else needs to happen? Notice that I'm not putting these in order. I didn't ask you what's the one thing that needs to happen in order for this sale to be a success. I simply asked, what needs to happen for you to feel that your seller experience was a 10? All right, so what else needs to happen in order for you to feel this is a 10+ experience? And Eric responds, sell it quickly. All right, you know the question. What does quickly look like to you? And Nathan says 30 days. Cool. Nathan, selling your home within 30 days. If we had a contract within 30 days, that would be a 10 plus experience, correct? He's going to go, yes, that's it. Cool. Tell me, why is that important? What would that do for you? Okay, so we're moving to Atlanta and we need to be there in 60 days because I'm starting a new job. Got it. Now, if there was one more goal, such that this would be a 10 plus experience, what else needs to happen? And you hear if you would lower your commission, if your fee was negotiable. Understood. And why is that important to you? What do you think they're going to say? I want to net the most amount of money. Why is that important to you? Because I need the money in order to buy that home in Atlanta. Got it. Makes sense. Now, if we could accomplish one of these three goals, sell your home for $700,000, get a contract within 30 days, and me lowering my commission fee, which one of those is most important? If you could only accomplish one, which one would it be? Now give them time, because you're causing them to really think. And the longer they take to answer this question, the better, because you've asked a good question. Now, let's say they respond with price, and price is not it. It's getting their home sold within 30 days. That's the real goal. Now, you need to help them discover that, because right now they think it's price. And part of your job as a consultant is to help them see their blind spots and make better decisions. So if I hear get my price, that's the number one goal. So I'm going to respond with, Randy, so if we got $700,000 for your home, but it's not closed and we don't have a contract in 30 days, let's say it takes 60 days. And you're not moving to Atlanta in 60 days to start your new job because your home isn't sold yet, or you have to go ahead and move and you're leaving your family behind until the home closes. That would be a 10. What do you think you're going to hear? You're going to hear, no, I need to get that. I need that contract in 30 days. Is it possible then that getting your home sold in 30 days is actually more important than getting $700,000? Yeah, you're right. It is. Okay, so our first goal is to get your home sold under contract within 30 days so that you can move to Atlanta in 60 days with your family and start your new job. Now, I want you to write a note down for me. Logic makes us think, emotion makes us act. Emotion is the part of your brain that makes decisions based on emotions. And there's a logical part of your brain that wants to rationalize everything. You need to speak to both, because you can talk to the rational brain and make a ton of sense, but unless you connect emotionally, they're not going to make the right decision. And emotion. So we get a contract in 30 days. You're moving to Atlanta with your family in order to start your new job on time. That would be a 10. Yeah, that would be a 10. Okay, got it. Now, if we could accomplish two goals and maybe miss the third, what's the second goal? What do you think they're going to say? Price. Notice commission hasn't come up. Commission is only important to you guys. It's not important to them. They talk about it because they go to seller script school and that's all they've got. But it's not the most important part of their decision. Netting the most amount of money is what they're looking for, not the lowest commission. If you can change their base and help them make a decision based on netting the most amount of money within 30 days, then they're going to make the right decision, not the wrong decision. Now, if you don't do that, they're going to hire a local discount real estate agent. And they're not going to achieve their goals. They're not going to achieve their goals. They don't even know what their goals are because they never talked about it. And they're going to end up being disappointed with that experience. So here's what I'm hearing. Raul, I'm hearing that if we can get your home under contract in 30 days so that you can move to Atlanta in time to start your new job with your family, and You got close to 700, but you didn't exactly hit that number. You sold your home for market value, for what your home is worth. And my commission was non-negotiable. That would be a 10, correct? And when you can get them to say correct to that, your commission's off the table. They're not going to talk about it anymore. Now, what if they challenge you? Here's what I want you to do. There's going to come a time when we have an offer on your home. And when that happens, I promise you, the reason we're doing this right now is because you're going to need to make a decision based on these goals. In other words, when you have an offer for $670,000, it's not 700, but it comes within the first 30 days. You can put your home under contract. You can move to Atlanta in order to start your new job on time. And we're focusing on netting the most amount of money, not who's going to charge the lowest commission. You're going to need to make a decision based on your goals. And it's important that you remember what those goals are. And don't worry, I'll remind you when we're negotiating that offer so you make the right decision and you sell your home so that you could be in Atlanta with your family within 60 days to start your new job on time. Now, does that make sense? I'm going to go, yeah, I get it. It does. Now, the last thing on our bullet point list today was trial close. And the trial close is simply, and I took notes, right? So I'm sitting at the kitchen table. I have a notebook in front of me, and I'm simply going to point to my notes. And I'm going to say, so if I could show you that I'm the right agent for the job in order to accomplish these goals, are you ready to hire me today? What am I looking for? I'm looking for yes. And when I hear yeah, my response is, cool, let's get started, which is just a transition statement to go to, here's how we're going to do it. Now, if they say no, the response is the same. Understood. It's not cool. Understood. Let's get started, which is just a transition statement to get to our marketing strategy in order to accomplish their goals. The needs analysis is designed to learn what their expectations are, what their goals are, what their fears are, what their pain is. And the marketing strategy is a prescription in order to alleviate those fears, to remove the pain in order to solve the problem. I've got a problem. I need to sell my home within 30 days so I can be in Atlanta with my family in 60 days. And here's how we're going to do it. That's all the strategy is about. Here's how we're going to do it. These are your goals. Here's how we're going to accomplish them. Now, every word I used was a script. And you can look at this one of two ways. You can look at this and say, there's no way I'm ever going to learn that. Or you can look at this as an outline. That's why I had you start with just writing down one word: gratitude, expectations, needs analysis, prioritize needs, trial close. If you have those words in front of you, you've got the outline. You don't have to nail the script word for word, but you do need to follow that outline because it's in the operations manual, and that's how you do it. All right, talk to me.